Hi, fifth graders. This is Mrs. Kelzer, and I want to show you how to use the app Graph Power. So you'll need to go to your iPad and find the app Graph Power. It looks like this. And then I'm going to do an example using Graph Power. I'm going to create a double bar graph for the concession stand items at Cambridge Isani Schools and Target Field. You guys made this one paper pencil. And since the website's not working, we'll use Graph Power today. What you would want to do in this case, and you won't always need to do this, is go here to Settings. And because the concession stand graph used money, I'm going to need to change my decimal place to go to the hundredths, although most of your graphs are going to be here in the ones place. So you make those changes again in the settings area. So I'm going to change that for the decimals, close out of there. And now I'm ready to move forward with my graph. Now remember, this is the settings area, and that's where you can set it for decimals or for whole numbers. All right, and then I am ready to continue on, so I'll click on this green arrow. Right, and I will go up here. This is where I can input my data, so I'll click on that. And now I am going to be ready to put in my data, but this is a double bar graph, so I actually am going to need to come down here and switch this so that I have two, and you'll see that changes. The lighting is kind of bad. Hopefully you can still tell what I'm doing here, but when you do this on your screen, these lines are going to look a little better. So I'm going to come up here and put my graph title. And just because of space, I think I'm going to call it concession prices. A better title would actually be concession prices at Target Field and Cambridge Isani High School. There we go. I had to get my capitals. All right, and then over here I have my one category, which is Cambridge Isani High School. Oh, I am having serious troubles with my capital letters tonight. Cambridge Isani High School, sorry about that. And then Target Field. There we go. Then I'm going to enter the different food items, and I don't think I'm going to do all of this, boys and girls, because it's going to take longer than I would like it to, but I'll do a bit. So hot dog is my first item, and the price at Cambridge Isani High School is $1.50, and see I can enter the decimal because I changed that in my setting. And at Target Field it is $4. And then I'll go to the next one, which was pretzel, and the price there is $2. And at Target Field, oh my goodness, $7. And so I would continue in that way. When I am ready and I have all my items in with my prices, I can close this, and you can see my graph was starting to form. A couple things to note. Down here I can change my scale. Watch. Okay, the scale's getting much bigger. Now it goes all the way up to 50. If I drag it back, the smallest I can have it go is to 10. Notice the values here. Here's 0. This line here is the 50-cent mark, $1. Okay, then here's 50 cents, $2, $2.50, $3, and so on. Now, if I were you, I'd be thinking, Mrs. Kelzer, you have no labels on your X or Y axis, and you are correct. We need to get that information. So I'm actually going to just click right down in here, and it pops me up this spot for labels. In the subtitle, I'm going to put my name, and that's what you should do also, so that your name ends up showing up on your graph. And the x-axis, that's across the bottom, that is going to be the different kinds of snacks. And the y-axis going up and down, that was the price or the cost. So I have that. I'll go ahead and click here to close that up. And if I were, oh, didn't show up. Well, that's not good. Let's try that again. Okay, I've got those items, right? Okay, what do I say? Done. Aha! I had to click done and then they showed up. We learn as we go. So click done after you've entered those all. Alright, so moving along. If I were you, I would be going, I have my title. I have a name on here. I have my categories, and remember you'd put them all. I have my scale. I have a label on the y-axis. I have a label on the x-axis. Mrs. Kelzer, this is a double bar graph and we do not have a key. Ladies and gentlemen, come down here. Here's a picture of a key. If we click on that, ta-da, there's our key, and we can actually just move it right over here. Okay, I believe I now have everything. And so at this time, I would want you to take a screenshot. And you do that by pushing the home key and the power button at the same time, and you'll hear a little click, and then a picture of this graph will show up in your camera. And that would allow me to look at your graph. So what you're going to be doing is doing the same process and graphing the information that we get from the what is your favorite sports survey. Okay, and you'll create a double bar graph and make sure you have all the parts, take the picture, or rather the screenshot at the end. Then later you're going to be using the same app, Graph Power, to create a double line graph. Okay, so if you're doing a line graph, rather than clicking here for bar graph, you would be clicking here for line graph. And I'll just show you if I click on that. Okay, and I didn't have in much data, but you can see here it has my 2 points plotted, and I still have a key. This is still where I'm going to enter my data. So everything's basically the same when you create your line graph. Okay, it's just going to do lines instead of the bars. I'm going to go back to our bar. There we go. And we'll close this up. I think if you have questions, the best thing is to ask a neighbor or to re-watch the video or scroll to the part of the video where you're having problems. Good luck!